Tip number 1, don't overload the graphic. When a graphic tries to say too much, it gets confusing and it ends up saying nothing. You should stick to 1 or 2 main points that you want to convey in your graphic. Use multiple graphics if you need to tell the reader more. If you overload a graphic, people won't know where to look or what it means, so they'll just ignore it. Tip number 2, pick the right format. You should use a map when the location is important to the story, but don't use a map if the location is obvious or not essential. For example, in this map of the world showing oil consumption by continent, a map isn't really necessary. Most people know where the continents are. It would have been better to convey this information in a bar graph, so people could more easily compare the amounts side by side. Or even better, you could vary the size of the drops based on the population of the continents to make the point that North America uses much more oil per capita than Asia. Tip number 3, always include a caption or a legend. There's nothing worse than looking at a graphic and having no idea what it means. People read online news at a glance, so your graphic must be clear enough to understand without reading your whole story or watching your whole video. You can use captions to quickly summarize the main point of the story and maybe draw people in and get them to watch your video and read your story. Tip number 4, use professional colors and fonts. Sure, it's fun to make your graphic all pinks and purples, but unless those colors have something to do with the story, you just look silly. It's difficult for your audience to take you seriously if you don't. Tip number 5, use the right style graphic or chart. Bar charts are best for showing differences between groups. Line graphs are better for showing how something has changed over time. Pie charts, in general, should be avoided. They either state the obvious, such as this pie chart of colorblind versus non-colorblind men, or they offer complex information in a way that is hard to understand. Consider these 3 pie charts that compare polling data for 5 candidates at 3 different points during the campaign. The problem is, it is hard to tell if these slices of the pie are bigger in one pie to the next, so the graphic adds little knowledge. Remember, a good graphic is one that catches the reader's attention and makes them want to learn more. That's what you need to remember about graphics.